Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
And a good morning to you. I usually start with the date. The date is a fraught one, of course, 9/11. Wow, 22 years. But I don't. Two things I want to say. I guess I want to acknowledge that this is a day of true grief for so many people who lost loved ones on that day. I know two women here in Pittsburgh for whom today must be very, very hard. One having lost a brother, the other a husband. So I also found out recently, and I did not know this. I'm sure so many of you did. I'm sorry. I'm late to the game probably, but for the few of you who are as out of it as I, that actor, wonderful actor, with a strange, who needed his teeth fixed all the time, but he is who he is and hadn't gotten in his way in terms of Hollywood. Steve Buscemi, incredible actor, actually. Steve Buscemi, I did not know had been a New York City firefighter before his career in theater and acting. I don't know how the hell do you get from being a New York City firefighter and then end up as a major star? I don't know how you do that, and I should look it up. But I learned that 9/12 Buscemi was at ground zero. He was no longer a firefighter, but he went back and worked long and hard trying to find his compatriots and others. And I had just found that out and thought, wow, people's lives are interesting. And we're always trying to seems like deny the complexity of people and their journeys. Always wanting to make people either good or bad when we're all just this incredible mix, except for Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin. I can think of a few who I'm just going to put in that bad basket and not suggest that they have any of what I would call a human soul, although humans are potentially the worst. Anyway, last time I did the show, and I want to apologize, I so talked myself into a major depression that I swear to God, guys, I don't know how. I bet there were maybe two of you still listening at the end of that one, and I'm sorry. I know, my excuse is that I deal with the news, and the news is pretty depressing. So, but I really, either I'm able to do it or I'm not, and I have to, suck it up a little bit better than I did the other day. Wow. Jeez. Anyway, I'm going to try to skate in a lazy kind of a way today. The image I have in my head is of those skaters with their hands clasped behind their backs and just taking long ones. What do you call that when you go forward with your skate? One, and then another, and another. It's also, though, come to think of it, behind your back is the way those speed skaters go. Well, that's just one behind their back, right? The other one pumping like a, jeez, man. Anyway, sorry, that's the image I had in my head. There is no joy in Mudville today. Man, the Steelers. Jesus, God. Whoa. That was hard to watch. I tried. I did. I hate to be a fair weather fan, but it was a lovely day. And I thought after a while, you know, I ain't going to do this. And so I took a walk. Came back to check on him, and I'm glad I took the walk. I was trying to think of, you know, when you poor Kenny Pickett, and then I thought of Pickett's Charge. That's another, you know, Pennsylvania historical event. Pickett's Charge being, I guess, I'm no scholar of the Civil War and or Gettysburg, but I believe that was pretty much the end of it. It was ill-conceived, sort of like the Steelers' game plan. I don't know. In both cases, Pickett's did not do well. Hey, speaking of somebody who's doing pretty damn well, talk about an impressive showing. The guy who escaped, the guy who did that, his escape was caught on video, on one of the prison's videos, where he did, somebody called it a crab walk. I don't know, is that a crab walk? He had his feet on one wall and his, you know, hands on the other, and he just managed to, like a bug, go up a wall and then over onto a roof. I don't mean to be acting as if this is laudatory, but it was impressive. He's a horrible person. Apparently killed 2 people. So he's exceedingly dangerous. And now it turns out he's one hell of a wily fugitive. Jeez. And last I heard, he was heading west. So if you're inclined to be, you know, nervous about such things, I'm telling you, he's heading west. And he's very clever. So be on the lookout. It reminds me of something. I probably told this story of my, this would be in the 50s, long ago. My mother rousing my father one night in their bed and saying, "Norman, there's people, I think there's some people outside. They're in the yard. Call the police." And Dad got up and went to the window to check. And he said, "Those are the police." They were looking for an escaped convict. My parents' home is, just a quarter mile from the state reformatory, frightening old maximum security prison. So they did not find the guy in my parents' backyard, but I guess he was definitely close. Anyway, I mean, can you imagine? You've got this guy has hundreds of law enforcement people looking for him. They have helicopters with, as you know, like infrared, all this stuff You can pick up the body heat of somebody hiding. I mean, and 10 days now, he has eluded them. There are a million sightings of him. People see him. They report. They immediately sort of, close the perimeter. And he keeps getting through. And he's done it again. And the last picture of him is from some doorbell camera where he'd gone to somebody he used to work with's house. They were not home. I'm sure they're very happy about that. But he looked damn good for a guy who's been on the run for 10 days with all that, dogs, helicopters, and the feds and the state and everybody else after him. He looked actually better than he'd looked initially. He was clean shaved. So he found a shave. He had a new nice white hoodie on. I can't even imagine. And it is like human nature to start, is it not? Or am I a little off here? It's almost human nature to start almost rooting for him. He's a horrible, he's a murderer. He's dangerous. He's all that. And I haven't really followed the story that much. It's just that I happen to see that the national media is now really into this. Anytime somebody eludes them this long, it turns into a good story. And I think one of the reasons people think it's a good story is you start almost rooting for the little guy, him, the one who, first of all, manages this impressive escape. And then, they always get caught, don't they? I think they 99% of the time get caught. But I must say, in terms of escaped convicts, this guy is putting on an impressive show. Better than the Steelers. That's all I'm saying. Oh, God. So, I had some friends over this weekend, and one of them said, I saw the funniest bumper sticker. And then, of course, he couldn't remember what it said. Welcome to old age. And of course, then you get embarrassed. He gets embarrassed. He's racking his head. And everybody else is laughing. And I'm saying, don't worry. No, we all understand. It'll come. Just leave it alone. It'll pop right back in. And he did remember eventually. And it was one that I had seen myself once and had found to be funny, as had he. And which is why he had wanted to pass on, because he laughed. And anytime we find anything that makes us laugh, you want to share it, right? So maybe you've seen it too, and I have not forgotten it. Actually, I wrote it down. And it's wonderful. It does require knowing a silly song from God knows. But this is it. Odds are you've seen it, but here we go. Actually, it's rather deep. What if the hokey pokey is what it's all about? Huh? All right. Just ponder that for a while. I'm telling you. And anyone who doesn't get it, I'd be surprised. Isn't that one of those sort of, it was an old tune, you know, did you do it at I don't know, you did it at parties? You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in, you shake it all about, you do the hokey pokey, and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Okay, so that's it. I'm sorry, that was flat. I understand. But I'm not tone deaf. I can tell when I'm flat, but I just can't get it up, as they say. Gigi says, I'm curious on your take as to how Biden is handling, oh God, the commemoration of 9/11. This is interesting since I had no idea what he was doing. Isn't he over in Vietnam? Is he back? I want to just say this. Okay, I want to say this. He's older than me. He's old. I'm old. He is old. And you know what? Last time I looked, he has been, in the last week, well, I won't even try, but he's been traveling and having to, do his job, which is endless. And he's been doing it and showing up. He's been in Florida. He's been in India. He's been in Vietnam. And I don't know about you, but if I, in the last week, had been in Florida, India, and Vietnam, I would be so frigging exhausted. I would not know what day it was. The idea that I'd have to keep working, you could never stop. That's the job. And the guy does it. And his wife's sick and he can't see her. She's got COVID. And you can't make up a more ludicrous job than that one. Now, Donald Trump showed us you can have the job and simply not do it. He didn't do it. He golfed. He golfed and tried to just take it all down. God, son of a bitch. So, I don't know what he's doing, poor guy. Is he back in the country? Anyway, Gigi says, I wonder what he's doing. Oh, he'll be in Alaska, you say. Okay, so he still hasn't made it home. So from Vietnam, he's now going to Alaska, making his way. He will have circumnavigated the frigging world. I'm assuming he flew to India, then Vietnam, and he's coming around the globe, Alaska. Then he'll fly. Now, I understand he ain't flying commercial. But, okay, he will be in Alaska. The vice president will be in New York City. Her husband's going to be coming to Shanksville, where the governor's going to be. And I haven't heard who will be at the Pentagon. And Gigi is curious on my take. Sounds like they've... how long do we... I'm not saying you never ever forget. You never forget something like this. Pearl Harbor, right? But at some point, I'm sure, it isn't expected that the president... It's expected that there be acknowledgement and the proper things said and done by elected officials. But if he's in Alaska by virtue of simply trying to make his way home after this long trip, God bless him. I hope he takes a nap. That's all I have to say. Really. I don't know how he does it. I really don't know how he does it. Because he is serious about it. Unlike the former one. He's serious about it. He cares mightily about it. And I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. So I don't know. It's okay with me if he's in Alaska. I'm sure he'll comment, but boy. Oh, here's another one. I mean, my head works. So I'm thinking 9/11. I'm seeing planes, Shanksville. I'm seeing planes. I'm walking my dog Saturday, and I hear a jet that is so not a normal jet. It is so loud. I cannot believe it. Sounds like it's 2 feet above my head. And it isn't even close yet. It's in the distance and it sounds that. And I'm thinking, what? And I immediately look up. I and anybody else look up. And it was overcast, as it was all weekend. And so as this extraordinarily loud jet got closer and closer, it was deafening. And yet when it was like, I'm sure, right over my head, and seemingly it felt like it was so low, but I could not see it because of the cloud cover. I wanted to see it. And I had a lot of different reactions, one of which was, Jesus, God, what do you, I mean, it's like it was too much, too loud. I couldn't understand. And then, of course, if you look at that app, what is that? Neighborhood, whatever that thing is. Right away, there's a million people saying, what are those loud? Some jet just flew. Oh my God, he's loud. What is going on? As if we're under attack, right? And I'm thinking, of course, this is going to cause a lot of consternation. A second one came not too long after. And then I thought, wait, what they said? And I knew there was a pit game. And I thought, oh, geez. I said, got to be a flyover. Got to be what we do. Which somebody could explain to me someday, but it won't make any sense. Why, if you have a football game, you have to have, what is it? I don't know, they're F-16s? What the fuck? Fighter jets come roaring in formation, over the stadium. What the hell is that militaristic aspect? That's sort of like, it's so macho, militarist. It's absurd. And I don't like it. But that's what I figured it out. I thought that's what it has to be. And sure enough, yesterday, same thing, right? And I heard them coming. They come over my house as they head toward the point. I couldn't see them this time either. But, that freaks people. People get freaked out. Just saying. So somebody on that Nextdoor thing said that the loudness of it was that they had their afterburners on. I don't even know what that means, but it was not a normal. It was like as if you didn't have your muffler fixed right on your car. It was like they were hot dogging. But just saying. Stockford tells us that poor Moroccans are sleeping in the streets for the third night since that earthquake. That death toll these death tolls, they just rise and rise and rise. But unbelievably, the sons of bitches who run that country say they are not accepting offers from aid from us. They said they will accept international aid from just 4 countries: Spain, Qatar, Britain, and the United Arab Emirates. Well, I don't know. Maybe they know what they're doing. I don't know. I would think you'd want all hands on deck, but on the other hand, maybe they're thinking don't ask me. Okay. How am I doing? Not getting into heavy stuff. Pretty well. Pretty well. I'm just trying. Hang on. I got to take a swig. There's some good news I saw. I mean, it's good news, but it reminds us of bad news. There's a whole bunch of foundations and nonprofits that are seeing, that are agreeing that there's one thing they need to get together on and focus on and save. And I'm so glad, because it is local news. So they have, this is everybody from the Ford Foundation, Carnegie Corporation, the MacArthur Foundation. Guess they're the ones that are spearheading it. And then a whole bunch of I think there's over 20 of them, nonprofits who have said they are earmarking, they're going to have to raise it, but they're going to earmark $500 million over the next 5 years. So that's $100 million a year. And to help all of these places that have lost their local news or where it is teetering. This is a huge crisis. And at a time when we're fearful of losing our democracy, you cannot have a democracy if people don't know, have no access to true journalism and news about what is happening in their communities. 2,500 plus newspapers have shut down in the last 15 years. 2,500 places that used to have a paper where you found out what was going on, where you saw who was born and who died and all that. And, a newspaper, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. A newspaper is one of the most important things that glues a community together. And it's unclear, but about 20% of Americans now live in a place that literally has no local news. You've heard of food deserts where there's not a grocery store. Well, these are called news deserts. And these are in a lot of smaller towns and rural areas that used to have these wonderful little local papers, often that had been there for 100, 200 years. And they did the work. They did the job. And they're gone. They're gone because of the internet. And there's no one has come up with a new model. And so you have these independent, nonprofit news sources springing up. And that's what this foundational initiative is mostly going to be helping out. Like here in Pittsburgh, there's a Public Source is one that I belong to. So you like you would pay for a subscription. You become a member, and they're doing fine work. And there's no advertising. I don't know. There cannot be a functional democracy without this, without local news. Because there's no way then that a voter can make an informed choice about any civic issues, governance issues, and it makes it very easy for those who want to peddle misinformation to have just free run of the place. And since this is in places that are already, as I said, rural, small town, which is where a lot of folks, listen to Fox News, this does not bode well. So thank God. That's the good news is that these deep-pocketed foundations now see this as a truly important thing to do. I think I have a caller. Hello?
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 Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes, this is Eric from Swissville. From being in Swiss, I'm glad I'm not the only one that was feeling invaded when I hear these flyovers. I'm just wondering what the heck was going on there.
Yeah.
And a nearby store told me that there was a Steelers game and I thought, oh, that made sense. But then I heard something akin to that the Saturday before, and I was like, what, is that a rehearsal? What? But
that's a pit game.
That was a pit game.
Yeah,
man.
Apparently you cannot have a football game without the U.S. military coming in, burning fuel, helping to pollute things, ruining the quiet enjoyment of your own life. Yeah, because people, I guess, get a thrill out of seeing these jets come roaring out of nowhere. And the flyover, how long it takes them to fly over the stadium? A second.
Well, I would imagine you'd have to fly like you have to time it so that you have to be like in the right position at the right time. I mean, I've played with flight simulators. I know that you have
impressive.
It is impressive, but it's like, so is scoring a touchdown. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I get that sometimes in life you need like spectacle in certain cases, but I mean, the weather's starting to get cold. People are looking forward to football, and you don't need some big gigantic fart over the air to show. I mean, I thought we'd proven that we can kill people if need be. But here we are.
Here we are. And you know what? I got to tell you. Explain it to me. It makes no sense to me at all, this whole militarization of the NFL and now college football as well. What the hell? It's a macho thing. It's got to be. It's some kind of a macho thing.
Duh.
Duh. So off-putting. But you know what you said, though, about the intricacy of it. If you're ever in a stadium when that happens, as I have been, I've been at Lambeau Field when over they come before a Packers.
Yeah.
And they come exactly when the Stars,
like the national anthem is over.
Yeah. As soon as the last line is said, you start to hear them, and then zoom, it's like a choreographed to the second, which is impressive.
It is impressive, and I have wondered about that. I mean, do they have something akin to MIDI where they know where to be at a certain phrase of the Star Spangled Banner so that they do have the last boom? I mean, I know you have to do things. Yeah, I mean, if I'm saying MIDI, like anybody knows what I'm talking about, but I often wonder about that. I mean, playing with flight simulators, I'm lucky I could land the plane right on the airport. Here are these guys, going Mach 5.
Yeah.
And, I wonder if and I wonder if they have any problems when it comes about finishing too early anyway. But,
it's pretty impressive. It is. They're threading a needle. But think of the millions of people who got freaked out Saturday and Sunday thinking, what's going on? Because they come. I don't understand why they have to be quite that as loud. As I said, somebody said it was afterburners were on. I don't know. Making it louder than it even needed to be, because that's part of the thrill.
Oh, I'm sure it's something akin to like how I'm hearing motorbikes out there and they feel the need to go while I'm trying to sleep. And I'm sure it's akin to that. Say, look how big I am. I know how to make noise. I could probably burp loud too. Whatever. I mean, I don't know, but it's funny though, because I live in Swissville. I live in an area, and there are times, and I don't know what that is, but I even taken video of like military helicopter formations flying like around the area, like around where the waterfront is and stuff. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Now I know I live near the airport, although I don't know if that's what's housing these craft or if there's another airport nearby. But there have been times, especially during the summer, where like, usually on weekends, I will see like military, like in like threes hovering around the area. And I'm like, okay, is that just simply an exercise? Is something going on?
Yeah.
What? So when I'm hearing these, like the aircraft, the F-15s or whatever, I'm like, okay, what? Did the UAPs come here? What's going on? And if they are, please help, take me. I need to go. I can't be here no more. I'm sorry. I tried. I really tried. Take me away. Yeah. UAPs. So, I guess we have to call them WAPs now. Instead of UFOs that are WAPs.
Uninformed flying objects. No, that's not it. Unrecognizable, frightening,
unbelievably asinine phenomena. I don't know.
Whatever. But a lot of it is training exercises. It is, and it is. It's the National Guard. The 9/11 out of isn't that the Air Force? Yeah, you're right. So they're doing exercises, and then also if you ever hear like a one helicopter like over your head circling forever, that's almost always a news helicopter, and you can bet something happened somewhere in your neighborhood that happened. Getting a visual.
No, that has happened once. I mean, I saw like a helicopter nearby going, and then I happened to have the news on the computer, and this was when some truck fell off near where the waterfront was, and Channel 4 was up there. But I mean, I would actually see a lot of helicopters flying over here. They're not military. I don't know what they are, and I wonder if they're like practice flights. And I actually have this app called FlyAware where you can actually like track some of this stuff. And I would actually see just like, helicopters, and they're just circling around the waterfront, and then they go around and circle somewhere over the south side and then go back home. And I'm like, okay, who are you spying on? Or is that, what are you doing? And I mean, how much fuel is that?
It's only going to get, I have to tell you, it's only going to get more interesting, because the sky is going to be littered with drones, personal drones, all kinds of drones making deliveries, drones doing spy craft, drones from cops and other law enforcement. And so all of that, plus the other helicopters, and I don't know.
And wouldn't it not surprise you, but they would all sound like mosquitoes? You're going to be like smacking yourself every time you go outside.
No, please don't make it worse. Oh my God. Okay, so that's what it is. Everybody, duck your head, take cover,
what's that old film, Duck and Cover?
Yeah.
Like that's going to do anything other than, just burn over you?
Yeah, a mushroom cloud will not hurt you if you're under your desk. I'm telling you. That's what they told us.
Yeah. And that did was inspire video games like Centipede. Anyway, that's okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Take it easy.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Oh, dear. Yeah. I don't know. hey, John Fetterman put out a picture of himself. And he's got a, it didn't even look like him to me. So, but it does, look like him. He's got a mustache. Does he have a mustache now? It's a full mustache. It doesn't look like it's a fake mustache. Or else it's somebody who looks exactly like him. Anyway, it's a fundraiser. It says, should John keep the mustache? Donate $15 for yes and $20 for no. And it's a fundraiser, actblue.com. And he's not only wearing a mustache, a full mustache, so I haven't seen him in a while. Has he had one? And then he's got glasses on. And I have to tell you, he looks better. This guy I'm looking at with the glasses and the mustache and the shaved head looks he looks better. He does. He's not a handsome man. And some, guys, facial hair can help. I think he looks better myself. I'm not giving him any money for it, but just saying, if you happen to see any pictures of Fetterman, let me know if he's got a mustache or if this is some joke I fell for. It's always a possibility. Hey, one other thing. I wanted to note this because I watched some of the Steeler game until I couldn't take it no more. There were an awful lot of 49er fans. I'm just saying. I mean, if it's like in the vicinity, like it was a Browns game, you expect people to, who are all these Californians or 49er fans that were in the stadium loud enough that, because they had a lot of reason to be cheering. But you don't expect to hear those kinds of cheers when it ain't your team in your stadium that's doing all the stuff you cheer about. And I thought, unless I don't know, I'm just asking. What the hell was that about? Okay, I've got some mail here to deal with, guys. Hang on. Bob says, is it just me? Or have the Republicans made it a habit to use 9/11 as a talking point for political gain since then? Well, they even use 9/11 as a talking point for political gain, even in the area in which the leader of the GOP, Donald Trump, boasted on 9/11 that his building is the tallest in New York after the World Trade Center towers fell. Yes, he did. He saw the positive in it. Well, now I got the tallest building. And I don't think that's true, actually. As usual, what he said was full of shit. It also amazes, but doesn't surprise me, that the god-awful party, GOP, still considers Rudy Giuliani as a hero, let alone America's mayor, after he and Trump had their mugshots taken in Georgia for trying to steal the Georgia election from Joe Biden. Yeah, well, there you have it. Listen, the GOP is a party of crooks, criminals, neo-fascists, racists, and anybody who is not of those that ilk and still calls themselves a Republican is in incredible denial, because no honorable American should choose in any way to be affiliated with what is now the Republican Party. It is not a functional party. Roger writes that the flyovers are so impressive. Why do we keep losing wars? I have a caller. Hey. Hello. Hello.
Good morning, Lynn. I love your show.
Hi.
I just have to tell you a funny story about the Niners. Maybe about a month and a half ago, I was visiting our daughter in California, and we wanted to go to an Italian restaurant, and she said, let's go to this one. It's been family owned for quite some time. So we go there, and the waitress looks directly at me, and she said, have you ever been here before? And I said, oh, no, I'm not from here. And she said, well, where are you from? Pittsburgh. She said, oh, I'm going to the Steeler game. And I said, oh, of course you are. I said, you know, the Steelers, we have bars everywhere. People in Europe love the Steelers. And she looks at me and she goes, no, my whole family is going. We're Niners fans.
There you go.
And they're like, so after she takes our order, my son-in-law said, he called me Mrs. K. He goes, Mrs. K, really, not everybody loves the Steelers.
That's right.
And I said, well, when she said that, I got so excited. I said, oh, yeah, people come from everywhere to watch the Steelers.
Yeah, you're assuming, it's part of Steeler Nation. Even this waitress here.
Exactly.
No, so she disabused you. No. But of course, if you live here, we tell ourselves these stories. Yes, the Steelers are, and they are. They've been a much loved franchise. But if you think there aren't other fan bases that are impressive as hell and travel.
Well, exactly. And unfortunately, my son-in-law was raised in Solon, Ohio, so he is a Browns fan. So he loved that whole scenario. But it was
sure.
That's
wonderful.
But you're right, watching that horrible game. I mean, there were so many of them.
Yeah, but what does that say, though, about, what does that mean? That I think there's a lot of people who hold Steeler tickets who never go. So they put them on the market all the time, allowing the enemy to get into the stadium so easily. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, if you had a really strong fan base, you can't do that. There aren't that people show. I'm not saying Steeler fans are not great fans. I'm saying that some of the people who hold the season tickets are dubious. They just have them.
Yeah, maybe you could be very right about that. But my sister had a bunch of people over. It was painful. Because
it's horrible.
I mean,
it was horrible. I'm sure you weren't alone. When I took my walk, I gave up in the third quarter, and I took my walk, and I'm walking through the town, and it looked like I could see clusters of cars in front of some houses where you could figure, they're having people are having a little party watching the game, and you just know there's just nothing but misery behind those doors.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
But if I was home by myself, I definitely would have done what you did, because there's a point where they can't return. They just keep making mistakes, and it's painful to watch. But anyway,
well, you know what? I actually once, I have to tell you this. I once actually turned, I can't watch this. I turned the channel to Turner Classic Movies. I thought, I'll watch something. And do you know what was on? The one thing I cannot watch. It was the shower scene from Psycho.
Oh, God.
Yeah. The one thing that is worse than the Steeler game was. And I doubled back to the Steeler game so fast because Janet Leigh was just getting her hair wet, and I thought, oh my God.
You were being tortured, really.
I know, totally tortured. Okay, well,
but
hey,
I just want to tell you,
great story.
I just want to tell you one other thing. A couple pre-pandemic, we went to Atlantic City to watch the Blue Angels. Oh my goodness! Have you ever seen them?
No, but I mean, I've seen them on TV. Yeah, amazing, huh? Amazing.
I mean, it's just mind-boggling. Upside down, sideways, these formations, and it's loud because you're right there on the boardwalk.
Yeah.
If you ever have a chance, I don't know, take earplugs, I guess. But it was very impressive. But have a good rest of the week, Lynn. Just love your show.
Thank you so much.
You take
love
care.
Your story. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. Oh, Lord. Hey, have you seen Amanda Gorman's inaugural poem? At Biden's inaugural, that wonderful poem, that kid, not a kid anymore, but she was. It's been banned by a school in Florida. Yeah. But of course, it's getting to be that if your stuff is not banned in Florida, you're doing something wrong. I mean, it's a badge of courage. Oh wait, speaking of courage, and this is a downer, but it's quick. Okay, hang it. But I just want to, on a day, 9/11, where we commemorate this historic event, which was so horrific. I came upon, and this would have been, social media. I came upon a fact that the Vatican Sunday beatified an entire family, a Polish family, a mother, a father, and 7 small children, 9 people. I'll give you their names. Joseph Olma, he was 44. He was a farmer. His wife, 31-year-old Victoria. Their daughters, Stanislava, 7, Barbara, 6, Maria, 18 months. And their sons, I can't pronounce these names, Vladislav, who was 5, Francis, 3, and Anthony, 2. Their oldest child was 7, and there were 7 of them. They were executed by the Nazis on March 24th, 1944, because they were hiding, trying to save 8 Jews. The Almas were not Jews, they were Catholics, good people. And I've always wondered how amazingly courageous you would have to be to risk your life and your family's lives to save the lives of others. Very few people would do it. Very few. Although the Almas, these 7 children who never even saw adolescence, and their 2 young parents, have already been recognized in Israel at Yad Vashem, the Holocaust memorial there. They are recognized as one of the extraordinary righteous people. But I'm always blown away by this. They were killed, and the Jews were also killed. The Jews were 70-year-old Saul Goldman and his sons, Baruch, Michal, Joachim, and Moshe, along with Golda Grunfeld and her sister Leah Didner and her little daughter, Resla. You imagine? Can you imagine? I wanted to this is a day where a lot of names get read in this country, the names of victims. I wanted to read those names. Unbelievable. Speaking of names. Okay, this will separate the real news junkies from the pretenders. What do you think India, that nation that just held the G20, in 10 years, let's say, what do you think it will be called? Because it appears there is a growing effort to change the name that we all know that country by, India. Anybody up on it? I bet some of you are. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Bharat. B-H-A-R-A-T. Bharat. And in fact, when the invitations for the G20 went out, the government of Prime Minister Modi, this was an invitation to some event, did not use India as the name of the country. It actually said president, that a dinner invitation. It was a dinner invitation, and it said that the president of Bharat, Narendra Modi, invites you. And the Hindu nationalists in India, who are riding high, went berserk. They loved it because that's what they want India to be called. And this article that I saw this in does not go into detail about where that name comes from, and if this is another case where they want to get rid of the name India because that's, from having been a colony of Great Britain. But it says quite clearly here, India was that place name was widely used before the British ever set foot on the subcontinent. It was called India. And yet, in the country's constitution, at one point, it says, India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. That's Article 1 describing what India will be. But I don't know any of this. I mean, there are some, I'm just saying, get ready, it's possible. Listen, you used to say Bombay, didn't you? You don't anymore. What do you say? That's right, Mumbai. You used to say, I'm trying to think, Ceylon. And it's now, what's Ceylon? I got myself into trouble here. You used to say, can't I think of any of these? Peking, I'm moving on from the Peking, and now we say Beijing, right? I'm just saying. So, I mean, we do Sri Lanka. What was that? Damn, I am getting, I don't know, not enough brain cells working at the moment. Sorry. Okay, well, I think that's it, because I'm looking at the time, and it looks like that's it. And I was thinking I didn't have enough to talk about today, and I haven't even made a dent in all of the things I didn't think I had enough to talk about. So go figure. All I know is I'm not in a state of unbearable depression, which I was last time I talked to you. And I don't think I left you in that state either. At least if I did, I think it's more on you than me. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. Up your dose. That's all I'm saying. And I'm out of here. We'll talk tomorrow.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.